Do you still remember? Those mornings, when sunlight slipped through the pale yellow floral curtains? The room smelled of freshly brewed coffee, and a record spun lazily in the corner. And beneath your feet, the shag carpet, soft as clouds, where the kids would lie for hours, lost in their own worlds. Back then, a home didn't need to be luxurious. A bold patterned wallpaper, a lava lamp bubbling quietly in the dark, that was enough to make everything feel warm, alive. Every room told its own story, and every object seemed to carry the soul of its owner. Even now, when I think back, my heart slows, as if hearing an old song drift through time, whispering that once, life was simple, and happiness came easily. Perhaps no one can forget the feeling of stepping into a house from the 1970s. Everything had its own color, vibrant yet cozy, daring yet familiar. The wall wasn't just a wall, it was alive with patterns, flowers, swirls, and shades of orange, yellow, and brown, like summer sunlight trapped within. Beneath your feet, the thick shag carpet turned every step into a small adventure. It wasn't just there to cover the ground, it was where the kids played with dolls, where Dad reclined to read the paper, where Mom sat knitting quietly. Every fiber of that carpet seemed to hold the warmth of family stories. I still remember the living room vividly, the burnt orange velvet sofa set facing the giant TV with its clunky dial that clicked tack-tack. Each evening, the family would gather to watch the Brady Bunch or Happy Days, and somehow, the world felt perfectly contained within that small room. On the wooden shelf sat a lava lamp, a strange little creature from another planet. The orange-red bubbles rose and fell, again and again, unhurried. Its light was dim and gentle, like the slow breathing of the room after a long day. Just watching it could calm the soul. In the corner stood a small table holding the record player. When the needle touched the groove, a faint crackle filled the air, and then came the music, Carole King, the Bee Gees, Simon and Garfunkel. The sound didn't just fill the room, it seeped into the wood, the curtains, the very air of the house. And the kitchen, the kitchen of that era was something else. Walls painted avocado green or lemon yellow, a bulky fridge, a trusty old oven, and shiny enamel were everywhere. The smell of waffles, melting butter, and freshly ground coffee blended into a fragrance of memory that never quite fades. Everything back then bore the mark of human touch. Furniture was solid wood, heavy, honest. Lamps had curved metal bases, glinting like drops of water. Pothose plants hung from the ceiling, swaying gently in the afternoon breeze. And in every little corner, there was always something that invited your hand, because it was warm, because it was real. Maybe that's what made homes of the 70s so special. They weren't just for living in, they were for feeling, for being, for telling stories. I remember our neighbor, Linda. She always planted red geraniums by our porch. Her house smelled of vanilla candles, with soft orange curtains and a giant abstract painting in the middle of her living room. No one really understood what it meant, but everyone loved looking at it. Because in it, there was something so unmistakably 70s, free, bold, unafraid to be different. The 1970s weren't just a design style. They were a way of life. People loved color, loved light, and loved daring choices. They picked things not because they were trendy, but because they made them happy, because they felt like them. And maybe that's why the spirit of that era has endured, because even decades later, when we look back, there's still a tenderness that rises inside, like meeting an old friend after years apart. Sometimes, I still catch a glimpse, a brown leather chair, a floral wall, a lava lamp blowing softly on a shelf, and my heart softens. Everything seems to whisper, we once lived fully. That's the beauty of the 60s and 70s. They weren't flashy or perfect. They were made of small things, light, sound, warmth, scent, that together held a whole world of youth. A time when every home was its own little universe, full of color, full of love. And now, even as the world has changed, if we close our eyes, we can still see that lava lamp glowing softly, the gentle breath of memory itself. Sometimes, I sit in my quiet room, sunlight spilling across the plain white wall, and I remember the bold patterns of the old wallpaper, the golden glow of the lava lamp in the corner, the sound of the old record spinning, my mother's laughter, my father's hand turning the dial, those tiny sounds that somehow became the most beautiful parts of my memory. Back then, life wasn't perfect or convenient, but each day had its own color. We didn't need much, just a small corner that brought peace, a little object that made us smile, and that was enough. I think that's the soul of the 70s. Everything was real, unhurried, full of warmth and feeling. Even now, when our homes and our lives have changed, the memories remain, in the way sunlight filters through a curtain, in the smell of morning coffee, in a familiar old song that plays by chance. We don't need to bring back a whole era, only to keep the spirit of it alive. The warmth, the freedom, and the quiet gratitude for life's simple joys. Because the home isn't just where we live, it's where we belong. So, what about you? When you close your eyes, what do you remember most about your 70s home? The shag carpet beneath your feet? The floral wallpaper? Or the crackle of an old record spinning? Share your memory in the comments. Because sometimes, just one small story is enough to bring an entire youth back to life.